our Friday edition of Free Flow Friday, where we talk about any and everything. But we're going to lead off with a couple of topics to begin with. How are you doing today? You ready to You ready to go?
Hey, I got my A&D bag. I'm ready to go.
Donovan's getting suit up and go to war. Tay, I see you on here. You ready to go? Y'all dusting off all your bars and all of that. Y'all ready to get it?
That's it. I need the logistics. I'll pick the logistics up, take it in.
All right. So Donovan's ready. I'm a dad's child, and so what happened was I can't go because
No. Actually, if they end up calling me, we're in trouble. Okay.
They're gonna be like, no, we see your YouTube content.
No,
thank you.
No, if they're calling me back in, we're gonna lose. Y'all better get ready to speak. Start praying to Allah, which is not a bad thing, and get ready for another lifestyle. They're calling me back.
We're gonna leave it at that. So anyway, you guys, and Tay says, let me get my hair done. I'm the first. So anyway, let's get right into it, you guys. So as you guys know, and Donovan is our and Al says he sent the money, and I like your Johnny Mathis. He liked my Johnny Mathis hair.
That's it.
Is that yeah. I was trying to think about a Johnny Mathis song. Okay. So anyway, well, thank you. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I thought I'd do something different with it. I was tired of picking and going little naps falling all over the place. Anyway, it's not a permanent. I just, straightened it a little bit. Anyway, so Donovan being our resident military aficionado and all this other stuff, I am not even equipped to have this conversation, but I'm going to lead it. So you guys know Trump bombed Iran's highest ranking,
second highest
military personnel, right? So it sounds like a pretty big deal, right? Killing him and all this other stuff, and so now Iran pretty much.
And he did it without congressional authorization, because to do a move like that without letting Congress know and getting the advice of your generals and stuff, you're going to escalate a situation that does not need to be escalated. That's almost like having the CIA go and assassinate Kim, the guy over in Korea.
Yeah,
Eun Jung Kim. What do you think is going to happen when we do that? And it's known that we did it. You know what I mean? So.
And they said it's a war crime, right? Technically, it's supposed to be like a war crime.
You can't go around assassinating people, knowingly.
So, and you guys please chime in. So, in your, not so humble opinion, why do you think Trump did this?
It's another distraction to keep us off of the reparations story, and he is being impeached, and he figures, because this guy does not read, doesn't understand, that the country, usually in a situation like that, and another country wants to jump and get froggy with us, we get behind any president to go kick some ass and do what we got to do. So he thinks that that's going to gin up a lot of support for him to do what he's got to do. But if you've seen the movie Wag the Dog, this is just another thing that they do to distract you and make you look at something else to get off the point of.
So is it true, because I've heard this, I don't know how true it is it true that during wartime you can't have an election or an impeachment?
No, that's not true.
It's not true.
That's not true. But see, the Trump administration is coming up with these bullshit arguments that, if you're a disciple and in the cult, you're like, whatever yes, dear leader,
Right.
But in a democracy, and especially in this democracy, no. Everything continues on accordingly. There's never been a World War II. Okay, put it like this. If Trump gets impeached, why do we have a vice president if, we can't impeach him. We can't do anything to him. Even if he gets impeached and he gets kicked out, Pence takes over. It's still a Republican administration. Pence is not that much different than Trump.
Right.
So what's the problem?
So, the next question. Are we going to war? Or
No.
We're not going to war. You say no, okay?
No.
So Donovan says we're not going to war. But my next question, will there be a retaliation?
Yes. But you got to remember, here's what a lot of people don't understand. Ask yourself this, America. Why is it that we're sticking our fucking noses up everybody's ass 7,000 miles away? Why are we doing that? Why are we in the Middle East?
Well, what's over there?
Oil. We know that.
Right.
We know, but that's what I'm saying. We're going into other countries telling them what to do and dictating to them, and it's our national interest, but let them come over here and try to do that to us. Oh, it's an issue.
Right.
Oh, we got people on the border. They can't come here. Oh, my God, how dare they? But we shouldn't be over there to begin with. We've been over there for over 20 years.
So.
Really longer than that. Desert Storm. We haven't left there since Desert Storm, because before Desert Storm, there wasn't really an American presence in the Middle East other than the UN.
So then my next question, and like I said, I'm not a military person, but I do read, right?
But you enjoy the benefits we provide.
Especially back in the day.
Yeah,
So anyway, so why did they deploy 3,500 troops?
That is our excuse.
And explain to people what troops are, because a lot of
Right.
times people don't know what a troop is.
Right, a troop is a soldier.
Okay,
basically.
yeah.
Navy, it doesn't matter what it is. It's boots on the ground.
Okay.
You got to have boots on the ground to hold the land. If you're in the Air Force or the Space Force, you can't really. You could bomb the
Space
hell.
Force.
Yeah, you could bomb the hell out of everybody, but they just go hide in a cave and they come back out. They still control the land, so you need boots on the ground. So that's the troop angle. By having troops in there, you use the excuse of, oh, I've got to protect my assets and my people. That's another excuse. So when let's say an American soldier gets killed. Oh my God, 13 soldiers were at a dinner buffet and a mad bomber came in there and shot him. Oh, we got to increase our presence now because American lives are in danger. But yet you have a Navy SEAL that committed war crimes and we're forgiving him. Oh yeah, those are Afghans. It don't matter. Oh, we bombed over 100,000 Iraqis, if not more. Oh, that's no big deal. That's them. Who cares?
So, why are they telling Americans to leave then? So you got troops going, but they're telling Americans to get out.
Because they don't want the collateral damage.
Expound.
Collateral damage is when, okay, let's say, I don't know why you guys think this stuff.
I'm looking, Steven.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys think this stuff is video games. Munitions aren't pinpoint, so sometimes collateral damage is basically I'm bombing a airfield. And unfortunately, the bomb careens off and it actually hits a hangar. That's like collateral damage, and the people that might be in there, you don't know, what's going on. So to minimize the collateral damage, they're asking these people to leave. Now, let me ask you guys this. Remember 10 years ago in Pakistan, they had hikers that got caught up at the height of the 9/11 thing in Pakistan, in the mountains where Bin Laden was. And they arrested him. The Pakistanis arrested him. We had to go over there and get him. Do you guys actually think some Americans are running around over there and just saying, oh, let's go backpacking in the middle of a war zone? Those are CIA operatives. That's what that is.
So, Steven just sent me something, so he can help me make sense of this. Okay, so I'm going to read this out loud. So, Charlie Kirk, who is part of the, him and Candace were on the Turning Point America type of, Candace Owen type of thing. So this is what he says, and Stephen wants me to address this. Iranian militia leader Hadi al-Amiri was a guest at the Obama White House in 2011. Okay. Obama sent Iran $1.7 billion in cash, and now al-Amiri just led the charge against the U.S. Embassy. This would have been the foreign policy of a Clinton administration too. America dodged a bullet in 2016. So there's a picture, I guess, of the guy. Sure. And then him and Obama and allegedly in the same White House. This looks like it is to me. And then it says, here's a picture of one of the pallets of money that Democrats gave to Iran.
Okay, let me address that. You got to know your history and you got to know what happened. In 1979, as you guys know, the Iranians stormed the American embassy, right? The Americans, in retaliation, Jimmy Carter immediately froze all of their assets. So if you're a big Iranian corporation and you had money in the United States banks, that money was frozen. But you know how banks operate. Even though the money's frozen, the banks still want to use the interest and loan the money out so they can make a profit off of it. So that money sat and made interest and accrued money to it. Now, I don't know how many, it wasn't $1 billion then, but it was whatever millions it was in the 1970s. Now, that isn't U.S. money. That's their money. So when the Iranians signed the deal to stop their nuclear program, Obama said, and I'm not an Obama supporter, these are just the facts. Obama said, we're going to give you back the money that we appropriated.
Which is the $1.7 billion.
That's what it accumulated to. Okay. It's their money. It was never our money.
So, also, I just want to make a clarification. Thank you for that, Stephen. So, it wasn't like Obama was saying, "Here, we love
Right.
you. Here's
No,
a gift. Here's a
he's
one."
giving back their money that we appropriated in
Wasn't
1979.
a backdoor deal.
Was no backdoor deal. And you guys have really got to follow the money. If everybody would follow the money rather than listening to the sound bites, you would see where all this goes. That's like me taking your house from you or repossessing your car, and then you come in and you pay whatever you owed, and I gave you your car back.
Right.
That's exactly what happened. We took the assets that was in the United States, we froze those assets, the banks used that money, and it accumulated to over $1 billion. When the Iranians signed that treaty to stop their nuclear proliferation, we said, if you sign this proliferation, we'll give you this $1 billion back. That's what we did. And then Trump comes in there and says, oh, we're not going to hold to that deal, and we are where we're at.
So, and just to clarify, because this is, I'm glad you're making sense of this. Because I saw when it was from Charlie Kirk, I was like, oh, okay. Because Charlie Kirk is a right wing, one of them.
Yeah.
So the debt wasn't even something that would happen under the Obama administration. It happened under the Carter administration.
The Carter administration.
Back in the 70s/80s.
1979. As soon as they took our embassy to put pressure on them, any time that we go to war with people, we just don't let like the Chinese right now, because we're deadbeats. If the Chinese called in their loans on us, we would immediately freeze their assets, because that's money that they can't use to fund their war machine against us.
Right.
That's what you do. You freeze their assets. You don't let them say, oh yeah, we'll just take dollars, send it back. And you freeze the assets. But unfortunately, by law, you can't just take that money and benefit it, because by our Congress, whatever, you're taking somebody's property.
Right.
And they're going to come back for that money.
Right.
Someday.
Okay. Well, that's what we keep you around for.
That's follow the money, people.
And Cindy says they don't want Benghazi 2.0.
Who's they?
Who is they? Who is they? And Steven says, cool, thanks, guys, and wanted to know your thoughts. Novi Rules. He's a Northern Vista alumni.
Oh, right on.
Yes, and so
me too, sort of.
Yeah, Donovan don't really try to claim Northern Vista
Novi
like that, but we claim him. All right, and then you also say, what about having the bad guys as a guest in the White House? So that picture I just showed you,
right,
with Obama and the guy, Al Amiri.
Okay, again, here we are. We've been at war for 18 years, and nothing's getting done. When are you... Listen to Tulsi Gabbard. She's a soldier. A soldier's going to tell you, okay, this doesn't seem to be working. When are you going to sit down with your enemy?
And Pete Buttigieg also
he was a soldier.
Tweeted about it too, saying, I agree we need to get some control, but this ain't the way to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
There got to come a time where you got to sit down and end the war. So by everybody's logic is, we shouldn't sit down with any of our enemies and just go to war constantly.
Right.
And just stay there. The Vietnam War ended because the two sides had to sit down and come to an agreement. And of course, like the Americans we pulled up stakes and left the South Vietnamese to their own demise.
Right.
Like we just did the Kurds. Same thing. The Trump administration right now is negotiating with the Taliban. Why isn't anybody saying anything about that?
After the Obama administration went and took out their, leader and all that. Yeah.
Oh, those women, they can't go to school. We're negotiating with the Taliban right now.
Right.
Why isn't anybody saying anything about that?
All right, and then so let's see. And
glad to be of help.
Yeah, no, like I said, you it panned out that you actually were useless.
Right.
I mean,
useful.
And then Steven says it's cool, dog. And Arson, what's happening? He says, hey guys, how are you? Just came in. Question: how did the Iranian money come to be in our possession in the first place? So
right, and I just explained.
It was a debt that was owed.
Right. Well, no, it wasn't a debt that was owed. It was money that was confiscated.
Got it.
Since we're part of the United Nations, I can't take another nation's money, their citizens' money,
right,
and spend it for myself. You can't do that. You've got to hold it in the bank. The banks use that money, lent it out, and it accrued interest, and it became over $1 billion. So that isn't our money. It isn't like they took US dollars and said, here you go.
Right.
They gave back, I think back in 1979 when they confiscated all that money, it was $375 million, which was big money back then.
So all that is interest
accumulated, right?
Wow.
Accumulated back into it, and that's what it came to, $1 billion. And it's like, here's your money, we'll give it back to you. It has to stay in escrow.
So I hope that makes sense, that it wasn't like the Obama administration butted up in
our tax dollars. No, we didn't get any of our tax dollars.
It was something that belonged to them in the first place.
Right.
Okay. And so Sydney says, as you know, also know that we would have lost in world court, just like we lost in world court to some of the Caribbean countries.
Exactly. whenever the United States goes to other countries, we always negotiate an exemption for U.S. soldiers not to be tried in world courts.
Right.
Ask yourself this: President Bush will not travel overseas without secured guards or an area where American presence is big, because he was indicted as a war criminal.
And they want that ass.
And they want that ass. And so he never travels where he doesn't have enough American security to protect him.
Right. And then Tay says the fact that Donovan has to explain this stuff is sad. Yeah. That's what we have him for. You know, and in all fairness, to a lot of people,
yeah, they're not military.
A lot of people just don't know. I'm not military like you guys are.
Yeah, you are. She's honorary.
Not like that.
Honorary. She's on every barracks at 29 now.
I got all kind of bars and stripes, yo. No, I'm just playing. I don't want y'all to think I was out there like that. I wasn't. But anyway, so a lot, so especially now, Tay, you know, everybody's going to be putting up these memes and all this false info. You know, and the crazy part, and I'm not saying this about you, Stephen. I know it's probably something you saw, but this is something Trump did. Trump, you know, pulled the trigger or pushed the button or whatever, and now Obama, and as he said, we're not big fans of Obama in regards to the things that he did not do for black people, but it's funny how now this is his fault.
Right.
You know, and then I know you guys have probably seen the tweets that was resurfaced that Trump said about Obama. He's going to start a war with Iran to get reelected and all that. Yep. And here he is doing the same thing he accused Obama of doing, right?
Right. And then you got to remember, this guy operates like a mafia don. Do you think that this guy just has a willy up his nilly? Because he can order the killing of a person and not go to jail.
I mean, you didn't think to knock on Congress's door?
Yeah, and again, he broke another law because he did not get checked by Congress. That's why we have congressional oversight, because you have, okay, let's say a person like me, I'm a senior person in Congress, I've been there, done that. I'm here to give you advice. At the end of the day, it's his decision. But why wouldn't you consult with the other members of Congress? Because maybe this is going to be a bad thing for American soldiers that are over there right now.
They don't give a shit about American soldiers.
Well, that's because most of your soldiers are black, brown, and, you know, poor. So we're just a tool.
Making America great again?
Making America
at the expense of your black ass?
Exactly.
And let's see. And Arson is replying to Tay. How is it so? Isn't it good that he does? For one, I know, so I, for one, never understood any of that stuff. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. I should have read your comment. Because, you know, Tay and Donovan are military aficionados, so they do this stuff in their sleep, right? But as the rest of us are like,
what? I thought you went in for the educational benefits.
Right. So it is good. And I knew this was up Donovan's alley. I mean, hell, he was just probably like, I can't wait. Yeah. It's up his alley.
But it's like Tay said, it's very sad that Americans have the shortest memory alive. It's in the books. Remember, we've been against Iran since 1979.
Well, how does propaganda work, though?
Right. The bigger the lie?
Yes, when I wrote my thesis, you know, my dissertation rather, for my master's, I wrote about propaganda, working on the ignorant, obviously, you know, because thinking people don't fall for the hype as much as people who don't think. And unfortunately, a lot of people who believe that stuff about Obama giving $1.7 billion and all that, they'll just go along with it. And then and the crazy part is, it's funny how people who have no knowledge will defend the truth or the truth, quote unquote, until the death.
And then think about this. And think about this, people, you guys that are out there. Can the president arbitrarily give millions of dollars to anybody he wants, as we see in the Trump administration right now? He was supposed to release the Ukraine money. Everybody was telling him that's a law. You can't hold the money on your discretion. They made a law to stop the president confiscating money once Congress appropriates a certain amount of money. When Obama supposedly gave this money back to the Iranians, okay, he couldn't just say, here, take the money back. It took Republicans and Democrats to approve it.
So you mean he didn't dig in his pocket and just gave them, okay.
Right. So the Republican talking point is like, whoa. No, they both did. That's why on this show, we tell you guys the parties are the same. It doesn't matter. So it took Republicans and Democrats to authorize that money to go back to the Iranians during the Iranians arms deal. So Obama Remember, the president is the executive. He executes the orders. He can't make a law. He makes sure that they're followed through. That's all he does, or he vetoes them.
Right.
That's all he can do.
Right. Correct. And let's see. Sydney says, wait, we helped the Taliban while they were fighting Russia?
Yeah. When the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, and there has never been a country that has defeated Afghanistan in war in over 400 since their history.
Damn.
We played CIA. We funded Osama bin Laden. We funded the Taliban. Anybody that was willing to fight the Soviets. True. There it is. The friend of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
Simple as that.
And what's up, Patrick? He says Iran has elected to receive, and it looks like dynamite or what is that? Like a dynamite or I'm trying to think of the word. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then he says also Congress cannot be trusted. There is no partisanship. Okay.
Oh, to receive, arms.
Oh, and that's what I was trying to think of the word. Yeah, arms. Okay. So they can't be trusted. There's no partisanship. Yeah, because they're completely divided. The House and is Democrat and the Senate is Republican. So yeah, of course there's.
Yeah, it's at a standstill. But see, here's the problem. Congress has allocated their war-making powers, because only the Congress can declare war, to the executive.
Are you sure?
And that's one of the problems. No, the executive has to...
I know, but I'm saying under this administration, I don't think that...
Right, and that's the problem, because are the Democrats trying to stop it? They have the majority in the House.
Did you see what I put up today?
Yeah, I did.
I'm just saying, so it's like, this falls right into the Democrats' hands if you really think about it. See? Mm-hmm. Trump, is trying to kill us all. We need to vote to get him out of there. That may or may not be true. I'm not arguing anything with that, but I'm saying, especially we as black people, we should not be falling for the hype. Right?
Or the scare tactic.
Right, because that's exactly what's going to happen is, oh my gosh, look what he's done. You got, he's trying to put us all in danger, which he sounds like he did. I'm not saying he did.
And what you guys got to realize, too, is by using this scare tactic, they are going to take more of your tax dollars, and they are going to go ahead and continue to nation build. In 18 years of war since 9/11, just think of now remember, before 9/11 actually happened, Donald Rumsfeld was on the news saying that the Pentagon could not find $3 trillion, was missing $3 trillion in 2000. In the 18 years since, how many trillions of dollars have we spent?
Yeah, he was just telling me about that before we came on. Yeah.
What kind of a difference would that make in the United States? Everybody could have had health care. Everybody could have gone to school. They're taking your money, and they're justifying taking the money out of this country for the benefit of corporations and everybody else.
At the end of the day, like I said, follow the money.
Follow the money.
And Sydney says, how many people knew we lost in the world court? Turks and Caicos sued about gambling. Turks and Caicos won $1 billion.
Yep. A lot, again, Sydney, like I said, you're one of the people that are in the know and you follow the money. People, because, it is so hard to squeak a living out here, you're so distracted with your badass kids. You're out there smoking weed on yourself. You're out on Carnival cruises. By the time you realize...
Turks and Caicos.
Right. By the time you realize what's going on, they've already passed the law. And now you're saying, what happened?
Why nobody told me?
Yeah, it's too late.
Right. And Steven says, I'm just a brown brother seeking the truth. Love asking questions. Appreciate you guys. Oh, absolutely.
And that's what it is. To have a dialogue, to have an understanding. You might not agree with us 100% of the time and things like that, but actually we learn a lot more from you guys.
Right.
Because a lot of stuff that you guys say after the show, we're out here researching and looking it up.
And to Donovan's point, Steven, if you wouldn't have, I'm sure maybe somebody would have brought it, but if you didn't bring up that point about the meme and the $1.7 billion, a lot of people wouldn't have known the real story.
Right, the real story, right.
That Donovan explained, so that's good. Like you said, it gives everybody an opportunity to be educated if they're willing, right? And let's see, and Arson says, Donovan's explanations are so necessary. See, I want to thank you very much. We could, where could I start to research? There is so much misinformation all over the internet.
Yes, again, Google it. Now, but look for some credible sources like
Dig.
Right, Washington, I know people say, oh, it's fake news. The Washington Post broke Nixon. There are some credible, I
Right.
mean, you know, and just
Sure
compare
did,
it.
yeah.
And compare it. I mean, you know, New York Times. Just compare all of these articles and it'll lead you.
That's
where you
usually
need to go.
what I do. I try to match sources.
Right. But
Yeah.
if you get that source that says, oh, the jump off, that's not a credit. You know what I mean? You look at the bottom of it.
Or Michelle Obama's a man.
Right.
You know? Right.
Right. Trump 2020. That's not a credible news source. Go to the ones you know, and then from that point,
Yes.
counterbalance it against another type source.
And Sydney says, I'm an honorary military officer. Laugh out loud.
There you go. There you go.
And let's see, make sure I didn't miss anybody's comments. And so Tay, he says, Halliburton and all of those companies making billions off of war. That's what we were talking about before we
Billions
came
off
on
of
here.
war.
Yeah.
Unnegotiated contracts, non-bid contracts. Just give it to them.
Right.
Our tax dollars.
And who owns Halliburton?
Dick Cheney was the CEO for a very, very long time, and he broke the law while he was vice president. He was still getting stock options and residuals.
And what war jumped off under his vice presidency?
The current Afghan war that we're in now.
And why?
9/11.
Follow the money.
Follow the money.
You know?
Every time. Every time. But, and think about this, you guys. You guys have friends that were in the military saying, I'm going over there to be a contractor. See, it's people like that, the greed and the money is so much. War is profit. And for some of us, it's a way to pay off all your debt or to get those toys you want. But it's got to come to an end sooner or later.
Remind the people how many tours you've done.
I did 16 tours.
16 tours.
16 tours. Now,
and you said on average what's the average for service person?
Yeah, the average Army Marine Corps guy, infantry person, you're going to do at least a tour of a year and almost a year and a half on the ground.
So that's
there.
one and a half tour,
yeah,
one tour?
1.5, yeah, and that's one tour. And the reason why they keep sending us is this. Think about this. See, those of you guys that have people in the military are about to go to the military. Less than 1% of the population has fought this war. So since people like and other people aren't joining, they got to resend us over and over again. And think about this statistically. You go over there for your first tour, you made it, great. What are your odds the next time you go over?
So you're lucky to be here.
Your odds get smaller and smaller. Basically, they're going to keep sending you on deployment until you're dead, until you get killed.
Damn.
That's
jacked up.
That's the statistical,
yes.
the statistical reality of the situation.
Wow.
We need to bring back the draft if we're going to have endless wars.
Thank God I'll be 50 in like a year and 4 months.
Right.
They gonna up that.
No, you're already past the age.
Patrick says the president has broad constitutional power to take military action in response to the terrorist attacks on the United States on September 11, 2001. Congress has acknowledged, Congress has acknowledged, I always lose my place, so here we go, it's way up here. Congress has
acknowledged
Do you see
this inherent.
Got it. Has acknowledged this inherent executive power in both war power resolution and the joint resolution passed by Congress on September 14, 2001.
Yes.
The president has constitutional power not only to retaliate against any person, organization, or state suspected of involvement in terrorist attacks on the United States, but also against foreign states suspected of harboring and supporting each such organizations. I read, talk faster than I read. The president may deploy military force preemptively against terrorist organizations or the states that harbor them or support them, whether or not they can be linked to the specific terrorist incidents of September 11th. That was a lot. Did you get that?
Now, and I agree with you. You're absolutely right. That's the authorization they gave him. Why isn't he going after the KKK? Why isn't he going after the white supremacy? Why isn't he going after white supremacy within the police organizations? Those are terrorist organizations. Now, let me get on top of this.
I'm just drinking coffee, bro. Go ahead.
Now, let me get on top of this. Yes, they gave him the authorization. Now, you have these Republicans out here, or these so-called white supremacists that talk about, well, the Constitution should be pure and the interpretation of it is pure. If the interpretation of the Constitution is pure, then the president should not be given authorization that is allocated in the Constitution to the Congress. If the Congress does not declare war, the president should not have the ability to do such in any capacity. That is the pure interpretation of the Constitution.
Go off.
Because it does not say, well, in case there's a terrorist attack. No. That isn't how it works. That's the pure interpretation. So whenever I have my Republican friends, and not you, Pat, 'cause that's a good thing you brought up. They say, oh yeah, well, it's like when it comes to like the crimes and, when people are going to jail and the mass incarceration. Well, the forefathers really actually thought that maybe we should, you remember Anthony Scalia?
Yeah,
he wants to pure, you didn't even live in 1776. So how would you?
Because they pretty old.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? How would you know
Right.
what they intended?
Right.
It has to change. It's constantly changing.
That's their job to interpret.
And if the Congress wants to allocate those powers to the president, then make an article to the Constitution to give him
Because they
that
can.
power.
That's their job. Yes.
You just don't say, well, we'll just give you, go ahead and fight,
Right.
but we're going to retain it. The reason why the Congress does not want to vote on it or give that, because their vote comes back to haunt them for re-election.
That's exactly
Hillary
right.
Clinton, her vote. Joe Biden right now, his vote.
Bernie Sanders.
His vote. It all comes back, and they don't want to be on record for going into a war that they,
Right.
that they're actually for, but
Right.
now they're like, oh my God, no.
Right.
Obama, love him or hate him, he voted against the war.
Right.
That's it.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And Stephen says, thank you for your service. Your services.
Yes, thank you for putting me in harm's way. That's always my reply.
Tay, and thank you, Tay, for your service. Because how many times were you deployed? And she says, here we go.
Yep.
I was a deployment manager for many, many years, and I will tell you that they will send you until you get out or die. Service members aren't people; they are items in a cog in the wheel that is easily replaced when deemed unserviceable.
Exactly. Now think about this. Since we're talking about tax dollars and trillions of dollars, that's just money we're throwing away over there in those other countries. Think about all of these troops now that have come back maimed and fucked up. How many trillions of dollars is that going to cost over their lifetime? An 18-year-old, 22-year-old kid, he's going to live for another, let's say, 40 years. That's a lot of money.
Right.
Unnecessarily.
Well, you've gotten about $1 billion of it already, so.
I do.
Right.
And getting more.
Right. And now all joking aside, he's right. There's people who have no earthly idea, what's going on, but they're going to go over there and fight for something that's never going to behoove them in the long run, ever. Right. And that is very sad.
Yeah,
So
because I'm going to tell you, me and Mr. Moses, we all came in. We didn't think you were going to go to war. I came in for the educational benefits. I was going to do 4 and out.
Yeah, he's jacked up.
There you go. Well, he was a Marine too. So.
Right. He probably went in.
Yeah, ready to go. Yeah. To be a Marine.
And Cindy says, if Americans knew about our foreign policy, we would actually have a real coup. That's what 45 is saying.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Tay says, and she's replying to Sydney, I'm still wondering, what is our foreign policy?
The Clinton agenda. That is our foreign policy. The Clinton agenda.
And that is, because I know.
What they did in Haiti. You're going to go over there and take over these countries, take over their money.
Ain't that been all over their agenda for the most part? I'm just saying.
But when you put a person like Hillary in the State Department, Hillary, sorry. Because people end up dead when they get too close to the information. But you put a person like her in the State Department, look at what we're dealing with right now. In regards to these other countries.
Libya is a great example. Right. And so let's
slavery in Libya.
Right. And and to destabilize the governments, so they can go in there and say, "Wow, since y'all having a little bit of turmoil amongst yourselves,
first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this oil field.
Yeah, we'll take that off your hands right now."
And did you hear they found 56
yes,
billion?
right before I came over, I saw that
56 billion barrels of oil in Iran.
Go figure.
Do you think we're going over? We want to fuck with Iran because we want to free their people?
Right.
We're exactly. No, we want that oil. That's what we want.
Right. Not to be funny, but you got people trying to come over and climb the wall to be free, and you ain't trying to help them.
Right. It's mind-boggling, people. You really gotta. Oh man, it's just.
And Steven says, do you think if he did notify Congress, it would have been leaked out?
Yes, it always gets leaked out. There's always going to be an outlet because that justifies what they're doing. But the point is, you guys got to remember, we don't live in a dictatorship. The Congress, out of all branches of the government, the Congress is the most important. Ask me why.
Why?
Because the Congress represents all of us.
Allegedly.
Well, you know what I mean? You got the different representation,
Right,
so that's
right.
that's a bigger swath
Got it.
of how the country feels. So when you see these people go in there and say, well, I'm here to represent the Democratic agenda. What? You're supposed to be here to represent the 45th district.
Right, right.
You know?
The will of the people.
Right.
Who put you
Right.
in there.
But they go there and they say, oh my God, I'm getting money and I get influence. And,
Of course.
oh, Nancy, yes, Miss Nancy. You know what I mean?
Right.
They enrich themselves and you come back home and you're like, okay, well, where's the money?
Where's the bacon, goddammit?
Yeah.
Right.
Ah.
No doubt. And let's see. Tay says Trump is supposed to engage with Congress and he only spoke with McConnell. Well, I
That's
guess
not
he's
the Congress. Right, that's not the Congress. And-
he's Congress?
Right, and in the House, the most important chamber is the House of Representatives because that is a bigger
Right.
swath of the United States.
Right.
So,
And Patrick says Obama invaded Libya without Congress approval through the government and killed their president Gaddafi.
yes, absolutely.
That is true.
And that was under the Hillary.
And
Clinton
like we were just
State
saying,
Department.
they all do it. You know,
Mhm.
all of them do it. I guess if that's their foreign policy, you
That's the
know.
foreign policy.
But I guess maybe Tay is wanting to know what is supposed to be palatable to the American people. Not saying, you know, well, we're actually going over there to kick some ass and destabilize the government to take their resources.
Well, you got to think about this. What's palatable to the American people should be your infrastructure, feeding your homeless, feeding your children, school things, you know.
Well, that's the lie they tell us when they
Right,
before
no,
they get
but
there.
that's what I'm saying. That's what we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to be out there nation building, taking my tax dollars for the. Okay, I'll put it to you like this. How many of you guys have heard of the thing? Oh, I only have one life to die for my country, or live for my country, right? Right?
Yeah.
You heard of that?
Yes.
Yes, I'm gonna just die for my country. I don't join the military to die for this country. I join the military to make the other guy die for his country.
Right. But that's the brainwashing that
Right.
takes place. Right.
Okay,
Incredible.
that's what you got. It's propaganda.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And let's see. And Sydney, you said also read the other provisions of the Patriot Act.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriot Act is very, very extensive. I've read it when it initially came out. I thought it was bullshit, but guess who went along with it?
Who?
Both sides of the chamber, Democrats and Republicans. Do you know, and it's still in effect today, they could come into your house while you're at work, go through your things, and leave without a warrant, without anything, just because they have suspicion.
Yeah, because
Suspicion is not a crime.
Because I remember during the Obama administration, they were saying, "Oh, the Obama administration is tapping your phones," and then they admitted we have the ability to do that. Yes, we do. We have the ability and the right to do it, but we're not doing it.
Right.
So what they said.
But
right?
they shouldn't have the right because what was one of the articles of why the so-called man rebelled against Britain? In the colonial times America, what were the British doing to house their troops? Putting them in your house.
Right.
And they said no more. We said no, you can't come into our homes.
Right.
You can't. That's what it was about. But now fear makes you give up your rights.
Right.
Simple as that.
Oh, that reminds me of Gone with the Wind.
Yes.
And what's happening? Oh, she said the Fuller Xavier Arnold Tia. So you're tagging people. Damn.
Okay.
Can I read? And I'm telling you what it is. It's this background. It's white letters. It says, I
Yeah.
love their energy when they work.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And then Sydney says, me too.
Me too.
And then Tay says, Donovan, the sheer number of veterans is why they revamped military retirement.
Exactly. Yeah, I think what is it now, Tay? If they come in, they're going to give them back like 30%. If you do 20 years now, they're cutting the thing down. Who's going to stay for that?
30 for 20?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. And Sydney says, nope, Donovan, that was before Clinton.
What was before?
I don't know. I
Oh,
forgot.
what was before Clinton?
Some doctrine, maybe. Well, refresh our memory. And I'll get to the bottom of the comment so I can see yours. And he says also, Sydney, think about what we have created our own enemies. So I guess you're saying we have created our own enemies. Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate.
Okay, and what's that, Sydney?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean we? I talk about them. The black man, look, seriously, when you go overseas As a black man, nobody fucks with you because you're not the problem.
Well, and
you
I
have
tell
no
you guys,
power.
you know, all the time, my dad was what you call it, a conscious objector.
Conscious objector.
During the Vietnam War, they drafted him. They tried what they did, and he was like, "I ain't going." He said he went round and round with the psychologist or psychiatrist 5 times. You know, and they deemed him to be crazy. Like, that's in his file that he's psychotic and crazy. Because he said, I'm not going to fight a war for a country that does not belong to me.
Right.
When I come back here, I'm still going to be called a nigga and everything else. I'm still going to be marching for my rights. So I'm not going in as a Muslim. That's just not what they do.
Right, exactly.
So they deemed my dad to be nuts.
Yeah, 4F. Yeah.
But so anyway, they told him to kick rocks, get out of here. You know, because they asked him, would you pick up arms? And he said, no, I will not.
And don't get me wrong. If a black person refuses to join the military under those auspices, I'll support that every day of the week.
Yeah, he was like, this ain't...
It's not our fight.
And what the Vietnamese saying to black people?
Yeah, they weren't saying...
Said, don't come over here. This is not your war. This has nothing to do with you.
Oh, I thought they were saying, we love you long time. It's big soul brother.
You want to be slapped?
That's what I heard.
And Patrick says, Congress is non-existent in this day and age. They have their own agenda.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
Exactly.
And what is that agenda?
It's
donors.
Yeah, it's just donors. They have the same donors. It's their enrich themselves. How could you be in? There should be term limits for Congress, number one. But how can you come in as a Nancy Pelosi or a Aunt Maxine, less than a millionaire?
You call the lady Aunt Maxine?
Yeah. Less than a millionaire.
Right.
And then 30 years later, you're valued at over $300 million on public money. Now, just think of a military person, which we get paid. The average military person makes $19,000 a year. That's the average military person. Okay?
That's it.
That's it. Just think if that person, knowing that number, they come out of the military and they're worth $30 million. What would be going through your mind? Corruption. How could you? You're a public servant.
How many knee pads you wearing out?
Right. You're a public servant. How did you come up with that kind of money?
Right. But we don't question.
We don't question it.
We don't question. And let's see. And Tay says, she's replying to City, we have and will continue to do so.
Yeah.
And then, hey, Huey, what's happening? He says, how many cans of oil did they find in Iran? It was a lot.
Yeah, it was over 65 billion.
Yeah, I can't remember the number, but I saw it before we came on here. It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. So we're going to go get that.
Right, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Tay says, shit, I didn't sign up to die.
Exactly.
I kill another mofo first. Right. So that's the premise, right?
Right.
Hey, Hannah, what's happening? Long time no see. It says the government will do these actions regardless of the man in the presidential seat. We have no real interest in the Middle East. We have enough oil here in the USA.
Yes, but greed is good.
And guess who that's going to be passed down to? Them going over there. Now, us. When we go to the gas tank.
Oh, yeah.
Or, go to the gas station.
Yeah, they already said that. Things are going to be high.
In fact, they said that the oil rolls, I can't remember, it's like $2 or $3 per barrel already with not even 24 hours. And so we already in the $4 range in some places in California.
Yeah.
Right, my car be parked. Thank God my daughter got one of those little economy cars.
No, and you guys think about this too. With them knowing the secrets of the battery now with the Tesla and stuff, why are we still dependent on these oil wars? Why? Because because they know the inevitable is coming.
Right.
The inevitable is coming, so they're trying to get as much money and oil as they can.
Right. And Sydney, you say, I know the answer, but asking the question anyway, why was the Taliban fighting Russia, and who benefited from it and now are paying for it?
Right. Well, again, the Taliban was fighting Russia because, again, Russia was giving support to the Afghan government, or trying to take over the Afghan government in general. So that, and Sydney knows that, and that's why, think about it. If I'm fighting this person and you're going to give me money to go fight, billions and equipment and stuff, what would you do?
Right.
High-tech equipment, and I can sell that on the black market, which a lot of them have done. And,
right.
And when I was in Afghanistan, we were getting briefings where our troops were getting shot at with our own equipment.
Damn. I don't even know if that's gangster or what. I mean, what do you call that?
And we're just throwing money away. We're
Podcast, we're going to come back with the second half. We'll continue on this conversation. The other half, we'll discuss it maybe on Sunday because I guess, maybe war is important.
Well, a lot of our kids are going.
And not mine.
Mm-hmm. So
I'll tell you right now, my daughter ain't going.
well, look, if your daughter would go, the war would be over.
Okay.
The war would
I said,
be
cut
over.
this shit out right now. Right. And Arson says, how much money worth of oil over there? So that's why we're really going over there. Surely, so on a slightly different topic, this means despite all the alternatives available, investing in oil company stocks is still as profitable as ever. Would that be correct?
Yes, absolutely. Because remember, who are the people that are at the top? They're not our generation. They're not millennials. These are people who...
They're George Washington.
Yeah. To them, that is it.
They are...
They're the Beverly Hillbillies, you know? They're oil. You know what I mean? And they don't know any better. So to them, that is the ultimate type thing.
Right.
You don't see ask yourself, how many 80-year-old tech guys do you know?
I can't think of any off the top
Exactly.
of my head. Right.
Exactly. And that's...
I mean, approaching 90, some of these fools.
Right.
And then let's see, Sydney says, create your fear to give up your freedom, was referring to the foreign policy question. This is before Clinton.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it like this too. If you think the president is the most important person, most powerful person on the earth, this guy only makes $400,000 a year. Unless you're Trump and you're doing emoluments and stuff like that. There are other people who make these decisions, and we know who they are because we were in the Seychelles. That's where they go to decide our lives and our fate.
Right, and they allowed us to go over there.
Yes.
And let's see, Tay says, replying to Hannah, true, but you can generate billions off of the back of war. We can send military over there, take their oil, and turn a big profit.
Yeah, because the emerging countries, they're not going to get Tesla batteries. They're not going to get solar. So you got to bring them behind and exploit them using the oil.
Right.
That will be left because we're not going to need it because
Right.
we're going to be on another energy source.
Right. I mean, I got to get another car. I was trying to ride mine till the wheels fall off. Hey, Marcus says, World War III, making America great again. Also, he's actually putting up the topic he's going to share.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Marcus. And what's happening, Joe Now? He says, hello to Donovan and
Hey.
fam. And if you're in the watch parties, please click on the link so you can join the discussion. And Jonelle says, got to get that oil. Then you also say, the big squirrel want all the nuts. Resources must be regulated only by Zionist-owned America.
Absolutely.
And Hannah, you said Russia wanted to run a pipeline through Afghanistan.
Yes.
Okay, and then Patrick says 3.5 trillion U.S. dollars at 58 billion barrels times cost per barrel today is $61.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and now I'm assuming that's high because what was it? Was it like 50?
Yeah, the average,
something?
and that's high.
Yeah.
The average barrel before 2000, before this bullshit kicked off, was going at like $23. And then they kicked that price up, and that's when the gas thing went from like $1.
And we ain't seen $1 nothing
Right.
in the dollar range in years. Like we're so out here in Southern California. Northern California is a whole different beast. But we're so used to paying $3 and 50 cents on average out here. It's like we just adapt.
Exactly. We just accept it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We accept it, but no one else is paying that. When I went to Houston a couple months back, they're in the low $2. And I'm coming from, $3.70 something.
Right, you got to remember also in California, it's automatically $1 more because of the special blend that we put in our fuel for, the
But yeah, we got potholes that's jacking up our tires. And Tay says, we sell planes, weapons, tents, everything but the kitchen sink to everyone and everyone outside of the U.S. We literally give the Middle East the same shit we use on a daily basis.
Yes, remember Trump last year was touting that military sale to Saudi Arabia. Right. All those F-18s or whatever planes.
What you asking me for?
Yeah, it was a big thing. He was like, see, 16,
right.
$1 billion worth of military arms, and these people make the money. Follow the money.
Right.
Follow
the money. Don't get caught up in the hype of everything. We got to go kick some ass.
Right.
It's deeper than that, I guess I should say.
Way deeper than that.
And Jonelle says World War II will look like a firecracker compared to this one. And I want to say this too. A lot of people who may not, follow Farrakhan and believe what he says, he called this. And was it 2018? He's warned Trump, don't do this. Don't mess with Iran. He says because what's going to happen is, it's going to destroy America. So I guess, that remains to be seen. Also, it's going to cause China and Russia to jump in or to unite. And it sounds like that's what's going on.
Well, is Farrakhan a Muslim or is he a double Muslim?
Explain. Because you told me what a double Muslim was.
A double Muslim is the guy that can't wait to meet Allah and wants to take you with him.
I don't know.
Because there's a lot of those Iranian people, they're some double Muslims, okay?
I want to be on their good side.
And that's the hardest, as a soldier, those are the hardest people to fight that are fanatical in their belief that they're going to get 7 virgins and stuff, you know what I mean? When they die. I mean, no, you know what I mean? If they believe that stuff, and that's a hard person to beat.
Right. I don't know about that.
Okay.
But he did call it.
Okay.
I would say that. And Tay says, when I was in Iraq and we were packing up, we didn't ship that stuff back to the U.S. We sold it. Okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I... Anyway. Hey, times were tough. I had child support payments.
I'm about to say, you want to incriminate yourself?
No.
Okay. And Hannah says, if you give up your liberty for security, you won't have either.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that's what's happening here. That's what's happening right now.
Right. And hey, James, it says analysts
were
calling for financial collapse was imminent. All indications said it would have already happened, had no choice but to go to war, and no media on 21 trillion unaccounted for. Okay.
See, follow that money.
Right, and Sydney says the Afghans wanted to burn the opioids, and we stopped it too. So on the other hand, to your point, Sydney, you got this war on what is it? What do they call it? The opioid addiction, I guess, if you will. And so they got to stop it. They got all these initiatives and things like that, but then we didn't stop them.
Well, for those of us that have been over there, and those of us that are troops, the Afghans have never, ever before grown such big poppy fields since we've been over there. So where's that? They're harvesting it, right? Every year.
Right.
Where's that stuff going? Did you guys hear about that?
Suburbia.
Did you guys hear about that? They just confiscated like 6 tons of heroin or something.
I heard about the one that was on the J.P. Morgan Chase.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
6 tons of heroin on its
way to the United States. It was just strolling by.
Yeah. I mean,
it was just strolling by. It was minding his business.
Where are these numbers coming from? And now there's an opioid addiction. Wow. What's the tie-in? What's the tie-in? You know?
Right. What's really going on? And so, and I'll address you guys. I don't like war is not some. I mean, of course, I've heard of it and I know about it a little bit, but I mean, if you will, if you go on Black Twitter, like I don't know, like. Black people, we are very unique, right?
Well, I think the hysteria is coming from the fact that, y'all niggas ain't doing nothing, so we'll send you to fight the wars.
And we're going to continue doing nothing if it means that we go on a war.
Right.
I think you should at least understand why you're going before you're sent off to go, right, to war. And it's funny because my oldest nephew was going to enlist, if you will. Or was he going to enlist?
Yeah, he was going to enlist.
He was going to enlist.
Dummy.
And he decided not to.
And now he's got a daughter and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, because he would have been out of boot camp by now. So, I don't know. Would he have been going?
Absolutely.
Right. So, he made the right call.
Well, again, depending on what his job was, and your nephew, and I got to keep telling people this because that shows you how not informed we are.
Go ahead and say ignorant, brother.
Yeah, how ignorant we are. They don't send lawyers to combat. They don't send doctors to combat. Certain career fields, they don't send you to combat unless it's that bad. And if you're in the Army and the Navy, yes, you are a trained, rifle. You got to know how to use your rifle. But if you're a IT specialist, they don't need you in the front rank because they have no chance of winning this war.
Right.
So they don't send you, depending on what you do. But if you're one of these people that just, I'm just joining the service to get out of my situation. Here's a gun. Go out there and go kill somebody. That's pretty much it. But if you have stuff behind you and because you have a value.
Right, they need you to actually be pulling strings.
Yeah, you have a value that they want.
I mean, to me, I just think it's scary for anybody to think about actually going to war to fight,
Well, again, for me, being born into it, it's what you do,
That's what you do.
Yes, that's what I do. I do it very well.
And let's see here. And Jonelle says, this is a drug-dealing nation.
Yes. You heard Michael Bolton. You heard Michael Bolton. Whatever drug deal Giuliani's cooking up. I don't want to be a part of it.
Right, because you know he cooking up some shit, okay? And let's see here. James says United States is, let me see more because I always lose my place. Okay, United States is, United States left bases, intel, weapons, vehicles. Russia and China have their own clearinghouse. No need for the dollar. This is why Putin said said that the dollar is dead. Donovan said it. Follow the money.
Follow the money.
Absolutely.
And you guys got to remember this. I know you guys, don't believe me, and you guys have your own thoughts, and that's great. You have your own thoughts, but you got to use your basic logic. Rich people do not believe in democracy. They don't.
What's that?
Yeah, they don't. That's why Trump, he's unassailable. He's like, I'm rich. What? No, that doesn't apply. The law doesn't apply to me. It applies to these people.
Right.
That affluence. Have you guys heard about that affluenza kid?
Affluenza. Yeah, right. He literally said he was too rich
to
go to jail because he didn't understand and he would never make it in prison.
Right. And then Lori Loughlin. Did you hear about her? This woman's taking karate lessons.
She gonna have to. Okay.
Here's the deal. I don't care how rich you are and how many. I don't care if Bruce Lee himself taught you karate. When you get into the jail and they jump your ass, it's gonna be more than one person.
Shit, her husband better be taking that karate. Okay, because he's a good-looking dude too.
Right. So
sweet.
The Midnight Thud.
Oh, we shouldn't be laughing about that dropping the soap stuff. It's not funny.
But in all seriousness, rich people do not believe in democracy, and I'll prove it. During the Revolutionary War, the so-called four thieves of this country.
What you call them?
The four thieves.
Got it.
The four thieves of this country. You look at the aristocrats, which is what we call the aristocrats. They were for England.
Right.
They were for England. They were like, no, rebel. What are you talking about? Against who?
Right.
And if you go to the southern parts of the United States, and you got the plantations, right? Those people were what? Aristocrats. They wanted the status quo.
Now you're talking too much facts now.
Sorry.
Lay off the facts a little bit, okay?
But just remember that. Rich people do not believe in democracy.
Right. And Tay says, Donovan, speak on it. Your career field will make a world of difference if your experience is in the military.
Right.
Okay.
So score high on that ASVAB.
Okay. Hannah says, Americans, it says white folks in parentheses, are okay with war because it's always someplace else. We've been at war for 20 years already.
Preach. And I have to correct you, though. We are not at war. We are in an operation.
And if you were in the military as well, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because a lot of people keep saying that. You got to remember, only Congress can declare war. If they don't declare war, we're not in a war. We're in a police action.
Well, what would Bush say?
Well, he's an idiot.
It said an act of war during 9/11 has been committed among the American people.
But an act of war takes another nation. If a rogue element within a nation, how do you declare war on a person or a group or an organization? You can't.
And fun fact, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what happened when Bush did that? When he said an act of war has been committed among the American people in regards to the insurance companies?
Oh, I forget. Go ahead.
It made it null and void because that's one of the clauses on your insurance.
That's right.
Unless if an act of war takes place, they don't have to pay out.
Right.
Well, who was he? Especially like organizations like American Express and these big financial companies. Who are they friends with? The CEOs and all of that. So by him doing that, it screwed all of those people, most of those people who had insurance, that died.
Got killed. Yep.
Well, we would pay, but an act of war
happened, and we can't do that. Again, follow the money.
Right.
Everything you want to know, follow that money trail.
Right.
No matter how small it is, because I'll guarantee you, when it comes to a public figure, that little minuscule $5 donation gets to the $10, $1,000, and you're gonna find out who the players are.
Right. And Jonelle says, I not only understand why you're going, but for what cause and whom you're truly fighting for. Awareness is free, but few of us pay attention, and majority program not to. This is truly a slave-making nation. And not only that, it's like, imagine how many of us will just say, okay, I need to go. I need to fight for my country.
Oh my God. That brings up a good story. When 9/11 happened, all of these idiots that ran to the recruiting center, like, I gotta go fight for my country. What? You're here to do what?
Right.
I mean, I was just like, you left college
Mind you, you were already in deep.
Right.
You know,
I was already deep in.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you're here to fight for your country. You left college. Idiots.
Right.
I
Don't get Donovan started. I don't want his PTSD to act up. Jonelle says the line for weed. Oh my God. The line for weed was off the chain as news reporters showed, and they sold out of the ganja
Yeah.
all over Illinois because it became legal January 1st. They done messed up all types of people's lives, and like a New Year flip, done made it legal, 100% wicked. That's what I was telling my daughter. I said all of a sudden it's legal in most places, but like you said, there's Negroes doing 20, 30, 40, 50 years for a dime bag of weed. Right. But now the biggest gangster is the government. Now they want to get in on it.
Right. And the funny thing is, I was talking to this guy. He's like, "Yeah, weed is cool." And I said, "I don't down anybody who wants to do that. I mean, I don't want to be around it because of my situation. But okay, I fly airplanes.
You might need a little ganja.
No. I fly airplanes. Would you want to fly with me knowing that I'm on ganja? See what I'm saying? It's like, well, why is it okay in your situation driving a car, but in my situation flying an airplane, you don't want to fly with me because it doesn't hurt nothing. I got my glaucoma.
No.
See what I'm saying?
Then you got glaucoma, goddammit. Get your ass from behind the cockpit. You need to sit back here with us.
No. The plane's flying itself. I'm just there to watch the control.
How you gonna watch if you got glaucoma and you're high?
Because I hear the beeps.
No. Helen Keller ass. You ain't gonna be behind the cockpit with me in there. No. No. And Jonelle says rich people believe in money. Absolutely. Yes. Okay, that is their God. And Hannah says yes, he was in the military. And Hannah says once Congress gave Bush that blank check to fight Afghanistan, then the war, quote unquote, on terrorism began. It's all bullshit. Yes, it's real.
Absolutely bullshit. Because if it was real, why isn't he going after the KKK? Why isn't he going after the skinheads?
Well, see, because what had happened was they not really like terrorists.
Why aren't they charging these white shooters going into black churches under the terrorism bill?
Because they have mental issues. Right. Did you know what their mom and dad did to them when they were children?
So why don't the terrorists have mental issues? We should get them help. Matter of fact, we need to compensate their families for them crashing into the buildings.
Their families were compensated. Okay, right. If you believe in conspiracies, they were compensated. Right. Okay,
yeah. Look. Why did Bush fly out all the Saudi national royal family out of the country during an investigation?
Right.
Makes you think. Follow the money.
Well, actually, don't make us think. You know what I mean? Yeah. Enough of us think. Right. And the ones that are thinking are deemed crazy. Or you're just making stuff up that's not true.
Conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, the government would never lie to us. This was a necessary thing, and it's like, okay.
I want you guys to think about this. John Kennedy, when he announced in 1963, he made a statement that said, at the end of the day, it is their war. They've got to fight or lose it. And he started withdrawing the troops out of Vietnam. What the hell happened to him? Pop. What do you think is going to happen? Okay. When that happened to Kennedy, it reduced the presidency to make the president no more than an arms salesman. All he does is talk about, our desire for peace.
Right.
While he sells arms to countries to fight.
Right.
And if the presidents don't do that, that's why Obama was like, I don't know what his feelings was. I don't really think he really wanted to go into Libya. But he has to.
But who did he have behind him really probably pulling the strings?
Exactly.
I mean, Hillary Clinton,
Right. And if he doesn't do it, an accident happens. Things happen. Remember that guy Ron Brown under the Clinton thing?
Right.
He was the Secretary of something, Commerce.
Right.
And he flew into a mountain.
What did Superfly tell the white the kingpin about his big-legged daughter?
Bitch better have my money.
And he said something happened to me. So I'm sure that's probably what they told Obama.
Right. And that's what the presidency does. And that's why it doesn't matter who gets in there. They are going to continue this policy of unended wars. John Bolton, this guy's a war hawk. He was in the military.
Right.
But this guy wants to fight everybody. You're like, God,
well, he ain't going to fight everybody.
Right, but he wants to see, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, Trump's never been in the military, but he's a war hawk. All these people that don't really have a grasp of it, they want to fight and that's where our money's going. That's why we can't solve the problems here in the United States.
Right. And let's see. And Hannah says, why aren't we bombing the Saudis? They were the ones on the planes.
Because the Saudis have the oil. We get a lot of not a lot anymore, but they are our backup to the oil reserves. Remember, the Saudi Arabia Peninsula has huge reserve oil revenue. What's the second biggest one? Iraq. We got that one.
Right. Boy, did we.
Right. What's the third biggest one? Iran.
And that's what I was reading too. So maybe you can talk about this a little bit. I can't remember what source I was reading said that there's a risk or potential for them being the Iranians to actually destroy some of the oil reserve, if you will. Now that this has happened, I mean, I don't know how true that is.
Well, it's just like during Desert Storm when we started getting in there and going straight for the oil fields. And that's the funny thing. You got the Republican Guard here, but where was the American strategy going to? The first thing we had to do was scoop up the oil field, not the troops over here killing the Kuwaitis. No, we had to go secure the oil field.
Be right back.
Yeah. Then deal with those guys, you know. So in Iran, you know, again, we want that oil. And you have these older 70, 80, 90-year-old guys that think oil is everything. That is why they don't want the battery sources to come out, because if everybody goes to the alternate source of fuel, you don't need the
You
oil.
think that's why someone like Elon Musk has backed Andrew Yang?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got these new people with new ideas that says, you know what? We've got unlimited resources in sun. We've got unlimited, you know, it's safer. It's, you know, doesn't
Let's
pollute.
use the shit that we get for free.
We're getting for free, but you don't make a profit off of free.
Right. Wow. And Arson says you two are my favorite dynamic duo. Just a couple of fools. That's what we are.
Got me, G-Batman.
Hey, Artemis, how are you?
Yes.
Did the black man that attacked the Jew in their business, did he have mental issue? So you're talking about the guy that went on a stabbing spree in I guess it was a rabbi who was having a party or something.
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
As a black man in America, yes, you have mental issues. Yes,
out of the womb. Out the womb.
Yes.
But that's what his family said, that, you know, he's mentally ill. It's like, you know, I mean, it's possible.
Seriously, look at every black man. Now, I'm not talking about kids, you know, they get a certain age and whatever it does. Look into their eyes. There is not one clear black eye that I've seen in a black man's eye. We have like a little crack or a...
So how my eyes look?
You got a crack. It's the stress of being black in this country. I'm telling you. It's a fact. We have hypertension. We have, I mean, what was that thing that you put up? Black kids are...
discriminated against at school 5 times a day on average. Right.
Would you agree with that? I would agree with that. I would agree with that. So
I would totally agree with it.
Just think,
and it was probably worse when we was coming up, because there was no, well, you can't do that. We got all this diversity stuff going on.
So just think of going through that situation, and then you become a grown person. How could you not be mentally ill in this country as a black person?
Right.
You know, I mean,
we all need a crazy check.
Yeah.
Shit. And then let's see. Sydney says Kennedy is the last president.
Yes, he was the last, you know, president where everybody believed what the government said and was like.
Well, maybe. So, do you mean Sydney to the point of he actually was? He thought he can act as the president, calling the shots, and then to your point, it's like, well, we'll see about that.
Yes, because remember, Kennedy was like, why are we paying interest for paper? I'm gonna print my own greenbacks. Why should we pay the Federal Reserve's money? Bang! 3 weeks later, dead. Dead.
And Jonelle says Kennedy's death was the part with the Zionists to take over this white nation.
Yes.
What's happening, Cedric?
Yeah, but ask you guys that the Federal Reserve is not a federal facility. That is a private world banking facility. Why are we paying interest on paper that we can print ourselves? And I actually have a Kennedy printed dollar, you know, that was backed by the United States government.
Where you keeping it at?
Well, I can't tell you. But you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, you know, think about it. You're paying interest on paper to a entity that isn't a federal entity.
Right.
That's like paying taxes to some corporation that doesn't really have but they gave the monetary system to the Federal Reserve to tell us how. Right. We're going to lend you money, but we're going to put interest on paper? What? We can print this ourselves with the United States government. We can print that.
What's really going on?
Yeah, Kennedy was like, we can print this ourselves.
Right.
Lincoln did the same thing. The Lincoln greenbacks during the Civil War. He was like, oh, I can print this myself. Bang, dead.
Too much you make too much sense now.
Follow the money.
Cedric, it says the hate is real. I got an email message from YouTube.com channel. It says Virgo Triad for commenting in support of Moorish American / Al Moroccan. Noble Sharpton, Tracy Gale Bay. Follow this case, please. She is now being held until February in their prisoner of war camp by the United States Service Corporation of Occupation. Deep state corruption at this. Please let's focus on our attention on her situation. Noble Sharon Tracy Gale Bay, a president day freedom fighter for our people. Never heard of her before.
Yeah,
never.
I'll look that up.
We definitely will look it up. Never heard of her. Sounds like it's somebody we should have heard about, so I will definitely look that up. Thank you for sharing. And Sydney says, I thought the person who runs the country was the top advisor.
Could be. You know what I mean? Could be, but it ain't the president. That's for damn sure.
So who is it?
I mean, because think about it. Look at all these cabinet members that do all these things the president doesn't really know. That gives him plausible denial.
I mean, think about this. You know, no shade to Trump, or maybe I do want to give Trump some shade. That he doesn't even strike you guys as a person who is like super knowledgeable about all this.
No, he won't even release his.
I mean, he starts tweets with very, very fantastic.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, they say he has a vocabulary of less than 1,000.
No,
300.
And I won't even, put that on second graders, because I know some pretty smart second graders. This dude is just like, very fantastic.
Very fantastic. We'll see.
Amazing.
We'll see.
Right. And let's see. Make sure I didn't. Okay, so, and Cedric says she is fighting for us all. We definitely will look her up. And Jonelle says, as the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, no one grows up in America sane, especially if you're black. And there's just an oxymoron.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
And Arthur says, let me see more. See, I'm getting wise, Donovan. Oops. You say, but these old people in their 70s and 80s you speak of who want to keep us dependent upon oil, I mean, by now, haven't they amassed hundreds of millions of dollars yet? Shit, hundreds of billions. Trillions of dollars yet. Like, what's the point of them keeping it at anymore? Keeping it anymore?
Let's go back 100 years. Ford. Rockefeller. This guy, in his old age, he started giving.
Right.
But before that, this guy was a ruthless. I mean, he was killing people and just.
He was one of what they called the robber barons.
Yeah, the robber barons. And like I said, the trust. Teddy Roosevelt came and broke up these trusts because these were the people that were controlling the country.
Right.
Period. And he said, we're going to break this up a little bit and let these people know that we're going to regulate you.
And they're saying that they're still controlling the country.
Yes.
Just not out in the open.
Yeah, but again, we all know 5% of the population control 90% of the wealth in this country. So what's the difference?
Right. True.
We know the numbers.
Right. And Jonelle says, none in government can contest the Federal Reserve, more or less question it. They answer to no one. And you also say they aired Lincoln out, and all that opposed them. Kennedy was the last one with the nerve.
Right. And they took care of him in broad daylight, and that sent a message to anybody that followed him. Because you got to think about it. We had a coup d'etat in 1963, and every government that's come after that has been illegitimate. If you really think about it, because these people weren't elected.
Right.
And it's just a bad situation. I mean, you just follow the money. Everything comes down to the money.
Right. So Kennedy was assassinated, but just not by the person they told us it was.
Right. Well,
I mean, in case you didn't know.
Well, those of us that shoot guns, if you're shooting at a target, moving or stationary, let me ask you, dude, what do you think it's going to be? You have 3 shots. What do you think is going to be your best shot?
The headshot?
No. Out of the 3 shots, which one is your best shot?
Your last one? Your first one?
Your first one.
Why the first one?
Because you're trained and you know what you're doing. Now, this is a moving target.
Got it.
I've got a boat action, whatever. So I have time. He's coming down the road.
So this was a professional. It wasn't just some cat who just decided, hey, you know what?
He was a Marine, but the thing is, the number of shots and all this other stuff, they put him in a line of fire, and it was multiple.
That's
shooters.
What I'm saying.
It had to
but
be
they said
shooters.
It was one.
But if it was one, 3 shots, your last shot's going to be your best shot as the target's moving away from you. That's almost damn near impossible.
Hey, I take your word for it.
Usually your first shot is
I
your
only
best
have
shot.
a taser right now.
Usually your first shot's your best shot.
And let's see. And Tay says Jared Kushner runs the Middle East. Right. And that's Trump's son-in-law.
And that guy's a total idiot.
God.
Totally.
Artemis, she says, the Federal Reserve are owned by the international bankers.
Right.
You know the families that
Mhm.
we were just talking about that.
That's it.
Right? And Jonelle says, Trump didn't need to make this move to win 2020. This is about a bigger objective.
Absolutely. Look, you use that as an excuse, get the American people behind you, the war continues on.
Right.
And now, you're going after Iran. We had an agreement with them. Trump comes and says, I'm just going to pull out. This ain't no real estate deal.
And then the thing, too, is, I mean, even since I can remember as a child, we were always taught, you know, even if it was subliminal, or for me, you know, I didn't understand because I was a child, that Iran was the boogeyman.
Right.
You know, we've always, that's kind of what I remember. Yeah, yes, exactly.
Ayatollah.
Right. So we've been taught that, the boogeyman, and so here we are, you know.
Right. These people just want to fight these people, and I'm going to tell you, if we went to war right now, there's no way we have the resources and the personnel to beat these people. We'd have to turn that place into a glass parking lot.
We have to employ Space
Force.
Space Force.
Hey, they need you.
God. It says Donovan said what I said about Trump blaming and clanging at the gym while listening to y'all. So he's doing his workout.
All right.
Yeah.
I gotta get back into it too. It's been wintertime.
It's already January 3rd. No. You're behind.
Well, I'm waiting for school to start up again.
Okay. Yeah. You got to kind of do everything in tandem. It just makes sense for you.
You know, while I'm at school, I take a gym class.
Okay.
A little break.
Way to spend those taxpayers' dollars.
Yes, I'm making sure I don't waste your tax dollars.
Thank you. We appreciate that. So I mean.
Oh, and by the way,
sure.
For you veterans out there, January 1st, if you are a honorably discharged veteran and you have a VA ID card, you have access to the base MWR facilities as well as commissary and exchange privileges. You can now go and do your thing.
Tax free?
Yeah, tax free. And as we know, the commissary meat is a lot cheaper than Winco and Walmart. So
is it better though?
Yeah,
it's better than Winco chicken.
No.
No. You say you're taking it too far now.
Yeah, that's fried. I'm talking about like the chicken you want to get. Like my mom made a roast. I ate that whole fucking roast myself.
Damn.
I ate the whole roast.
So you sound like you need a detox, a cleanse, or something.
I do. I mean, I'm going to have a big old brick coming out. And I'm not looking forward to that. I'm sorry. It was that good. Mom put her foot in it on that one.
Sound like she need to put her foot up your... They help you detox. So anyway, yeah, so... are we going to war? I don't know. Like I said, this is all this wild speculation. Maybe some of it is not so wild. People are freaking out, you know. And this is another thing, too, I want to bring up, just since we are here as black people. Like, people talk about this war that's going to happen and this, what do you call it, civil war.
In the nation, right?
Within the nation, this race war. That's the word I was looking for, this race war. What we going to do?
Well, we do know this. If you're going to go to war, you got to know who your enemy is. We do know 50% of the country is our enemy. We know that. Okay,
and then when you add on the people, the black people who are like, I'm not with you guys.
Right. But we know for sure 50%.
We people of color.
Right. We know 50% of our enemy is our enemy, is the population. So we know that.
And Jonelle, you say, right, they create their monsters and dress it with justification via their media. None has ever traveled to America to start war besides Japan after being provoked. But this nation has warmonger from past to present in other nations. And Japan has been what? They've gotten all kind of reparations.
Exactly. Well, that's Japanese Americans. And think about this. The Japanese Constitution, the Japanese nation's Constitution prevents them from having offensive type weapons because of World War II. That's the treaty that they signed that they will never go to war.
Right.
They are authorized to have a self-defense force. The Japanese just now launched a brand new aircraft carrier.
Why?
Self-defense.
Because they see this fool is over here?
Well, no. They're our allies, but the thing is, they're not supposed to have an aircraft carrier. That's an offensive weapon.
Got it.
That's not used for defense. It's an offensive weapon. But they are now authorized to have that, and they're buying these weapons to defend themselves against Korea and China and all that other stuff. But their constitution specifically says they can't do it, but yet they're doing it.
So basically, we're all screwed for the most part.
No, what it is our Boeing and Lockheed arms manufacturers have now been granted contracts to sell to the Japanese.
I wonder why.
They make the money.
How do we get in on some of this action?
They won't let you. That's what I'm saying. They won't let you in. We used to have multiple defense companies. You had McDonnell Douglas. You had Rockwell, Roar.
Yeah.
Now we're down to Boeing and Martin Lockheed. That's it. And Northrop Grumman. You got
right.
those guys.
Juggernauts.
Yeah, and they get all the contracts.
Right. And Artemis, she said, what is your opinion on the assassination of the Iranian general? Can America win this war because China, Russia, Turkey have a stake in this war?
No, we can't win. And what I'm saying is, if you're going by the numbers, China alone, we don't even have enough bullets for the people that they have in their military. We have less than 2 million. We have less than 500,000 people in uniform.
Damn. And so that kind of goes back to when Trump was saying that he wanted the military to be like China, saluting them and marching in the streets and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and the reason I said that's active duty. Now, if you put in the reserves, which is what we rely on a lot now. So here you are working your job. Let's say you work a $200,000 job, somewhere at some company, but you're a reservist. Do you want to go to war? At $19,000 on average?
Hell no.
But they're using the reserves more so than the active duty because, again, those of you guys that don't know, 40% of the active duty troops have to remain in the United States. Ask me why.
Why?
In case y'all asses rise up, the president needs people.
Y'all asses being who?
The white folks or the blacks.
So people over here.
Yes.
People over here.
Yes, because if you guys try to overthrow the government, the president has troops that is going to quell any rebellion in the United States. A reservist ain't going to do. I mean, we'll do it, but you know what I mean.
FYI.
Right.
Got it.
40% of all active duty troops must remain in the United States at all times.
Arson, you say, it's funny how people always trash Trump for being dumb, quote unquote, but he has always been in a position to find out who the big players are on the board. I am sure he knows he's a puppet, but I think he knows his masters because if he's as ignorant as you two say he is, well, unless there is a major revolution here, we are truly doomed. What will be the point of fighting him if the head's operations are operating in the shadows?
Well, here's the thing. Yes, you're right. He's a figurehead, whatever. When we say he's dumb, why would you say what you're going to say when you know people are on the call? You know what I mean?
I mean, and then tweeting like intimidating witnesses and all kinds of stuff.
In live time. Yeah. You get exonerated supposedly by the Mueller report, and on that very day, you start the Ukrainian crap. The guy is a moron. There's no doubt about that.
Somebody definitely is. And, and they said before Steve Bannon left, that he was actually the president, if you will, the figurehead. He was running the thing. They had a schism and whatever happened.
And before Trump, you had Bush Jr. That guy was a total idiot.
Okay.
The perfect pawn. He did not know what he was doing. And if you guys don't believe me, who did he surround himself with? Daddy Bush's people. All Daddy Bush's people came back to get this guy straight. He was just a figurehead.
We talking about the same cat on 9/11 that was holding the book upside down?
Right, that guy.
Reading to the kids?
That guy, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, I mean, you need those kind of people, but you can't sit there and tell, release your taxes. You haven't done that. Release your grades. He won't do that. Trump stakes, failure. You lost $1 billion in the 80s. You tried to be a mafia guy. That didn't work out. You know what I mean? It's like everything everything this guy has done, his father bailed him out. And then he went through his father's money like nobody's business. And then he's at sex parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Come on. I mean,
something's not quite right.
Yeah, I really can't say he's a genius.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely a silver tongue, if you will, somebody who has a gift of gab, and he wrote the book. I think he did.
No, he's a ghostwriter.
The Art of the Deal, but
no, he didn't write that.
Right. So, and Cedric says, I was in a civil war in the summer of 1983. I was 21 years old, a U.S. Marine. My unit was providing security for the Beirut International
Airport.
Airport.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a buddy. His name is Elmore Bing. I don't know if you know him. He was also a Marine over there at Beirut too. And those guys a lot of them are passing away, but they get together and remember that. And
Okay.
that was ridiculous. For those that don't know, Reagan sent the Marines over there and didn't give them any bullets.
Huh?
You know, to protect themselves and stuff, because he didn't want an incident. And I mean, there was a little more to it than that.
Right.
But I mean, that shows you the politics and the pawning of the military that we use on a constant basis.
Wow. And Jonelle says America's truly Tony Stark.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Tony Stark.
Iron Man.
Oh,
Iron Man. High tech.
got it. And Sydney says better get ready. Yes. And for those of us, you know, us being black people, my dad always talks about store your food in your water. You know, it's not a game. While we out there, as Jonelle said, standing in line for weed and, you know, all the nonsense, you know, once your weed is gone, you're going to have the munchies. Let's say if it goes down, what you going to eat? What you going to drink? I mean, really, you know, as it is, tap water is not even really, you know, drinkable.
Well, think about this. Okay, let's say you survive all that. It gets dark. Okay, yeah, you got your flashlight, but eventually the battery's going to die. How many of you guys got solar lighting for your tents?
We do.
Yeah, we do. You gotta think, you gotta think outside the box. I got a phone. Okay, the power goes out, whatever, but we still got the towers, or it's like that. How many of you guys got solar chargers for your phone?
Tell them what happened in Africa when we went to the botanical gardens and you forgot your...
Yeah.
This dude, he's bragging about he's got the solar power battery charger. You know, Donovan is like that dude, right, who has everything in these compasses and all kind of stuff. This cat forgets the damn solar power charger.
We were going to the botanical gardens. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, it's a botanical gardens. Okay, now we're in Africa, and I'm thinking like America, you're going to have outlets and stuff. Not in Africa. You didn't have that. And so we get there, and I'm thinking, oh, damn.
Did we have enough juice to try to... And then we didn't have no internet, so we had to borrow some from a guy who, you know, allowed my daughter to use some of his and call it Uber. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, but my point is, you've got to get ready for this stuff. So those of you guys that are not into solar power, you better get into it, because even if you got your tent, you're out there in the wilderness as the war is kicking off down here.
Right.
It gets dark. How are you going to see in your tent?
Right.
You definitely don't want to start a fire.
Yeah.
Because people are going to come and see that fire like Red Dawn and kill your ass.
Right.
You know, whatever. So, you know, you got to think about that.
Jonelle says, you got to have a cause to fight for. The American citizens don't have a reason to fight besides what they're falsely told. Now those they're fighting have reason, and they will be relentless for their cause.
Yeah. I mean, by killing that soldier, you got those people jumping right now.
And they, my daughter showed me a tweet from some dude, I guess an Iranian, who was like, y'all done set it off now.
Like fire ants, some guys are jumping.
Right. Jonelle says Trump selected cause. Trump is selected because he is the perfect pawn for the seat.
Yes. Trump says, wait, I can be president, and now you guys are still going to let me get away with making money?
Right. A lot of it.
Yeah, okay.
Not me, but my kids and everybody else.
Okay.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Arson, you say, boy, I love how passionate Donovan is about how dumb these presidents are. But by naming Bush, you are proving the point I have been making for years. That it's the same scenario being played before our eyes. I'm glad you remember. But is there not the slightest chance that they act dumb on purpose as a part of the game?
No. No.
Yeah, some of that you ain't faking. Nah.
Yeah, no. Because if you go back and you look at Bush through history, he's not that bright. He really isn't.
What was he trying to make a quote? If you fool me once?
Yeah, he couldn't do that.
Shame on me.
But before that, Bush too. Yeah, he was in the Air National Guard, so they say. You know, he enlisted in the Air National Guard in Texas, and he never showed up for drill. So that's what, you know. And then I don't even know how he got his commission. How are you going to make a guy a fighter pilot, and then 2 years later he walks away? That's an 8-year commitment.
Didn't they say he was an extreme drunk and just his grades were horrible?
Yeah, it was in the 60s, you know, or early 70s. The guy was just, like Trump, privileged.
Right.
I'm just doing this so I don't have to go over there.
Right.
I'm just going to do what I got to do, and
it
is what it is. The guy was an idiot, though. He was a total idiot.
Make no mistake about it,
Yeah,
okay?
because his presidency was going down the tubes until Daddy Bush sent his people in to save his presidency.
Right. And Sandra says, I have a vision of the thing to come. I told everyone months early, all hell is going to break loose. I had a vision of things come. A 9/11 situation. Our battalion headquarters came under attack. A truck filled with 20 tons of explosives Sunday morning, October 23rd, 1983. Now I understand the close encounters with these extraterrestrials. Visitations on going right now. On now multiple visitations since the October 14, 2017, says 14th and 15th. It says see the spacecraft, orb, craft, etc.
Yeah, I see the spacecraft orbiting craft and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I mean, anything's possible. Was that Area 51 is supposed to house all of these secrets? The more you, I remember I saw you get ready to lead the charge. You was gonna storm Area 51.
You know,
you had on your the Spock ears and everything.
Yes, like I was ready to go. For those that you guys that don't know, Area 51 is no longer what it was.
They say.
Yeah, no. They moved a lot of the stuff that was there to Wright-Patterson Airfield in Dayton, Ohio. That's where a lot of stuff's stored and do that. They still use Area 51 for its runways and stuff, and it's basically a diversion type thing.
Right.
But, you know, there's still some things there, but the majority of the alien stuff is in.
What wasn't that Hillary Clinton talking about it? We gonna open up Area 51 when I'm president?
Yeah. Right. And then they get there and they go, oh, did I say that?
Right.
By the way.
I was just playing. Okay, and so let's see. And Jonelle says, Iron Man was an arms dealer selling to everyone, especially the highest bidder. American arms suppliers are in every nation selling military weapons.
Yes, we sell weapons. That's what we do.
And I also say Trump is now saying they do not want to start a war with Iran. Hilarious.
Yeah. See,
so you just take out one of the top brass?
Right. That's what I'm saying. They say, oh, we're for peace, but their actions are war.
Right.
That's
we was just kidding.
That's the game. And the thing is, you can't go around country. This guy wasn't even a citizen. Even if you are a citizen, you can't just kill me. But that's what they got, Obama citizen overseas.
Okay.
But some court ruled that, yeah, you could because he basically renounced his citizenship. But you can't arbitrarily go around assassinating people because you're a United States president.
Right.
That's a war crime. That's a criminal court crime. I mean, you're going to put all these. Let's talk about the diamond conflict in Africa. You're putting Charles Taylor and all these other guys up on charges, but we're immune because we're Americans. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Right. And Artemis says, get dry goods and water will last with refrigeration. How long do you think that skirmish will last? I think they will try and reinstate slavery.
Reinstate it? They already done it.
Right. But how long will it last? Even if it was the last week, I don't think a lot of us would even be prepared. You know what I mean? Because we, like I said, I hate to say it, as my mom would say, we too busy good time Charlieing.
No, I hate to say this.
Uh-oh.
I hate to say this. Remember when the riots were going on over in LA and stuff like that? And remember everybody was like gearing up to go hit the Kmart and all this other stuff? So if there's a war, I predict this for my community. The buffoonery that we do. We take advantage of a situation and we're going to go rob and steal and take because we figure it's the end all. So instead of survival stuff, we're going to take the big screen TV.
Right. And, in all fairness, because you like to say speaking for our community, we do that.
Mm-hmm.
And as they said, too, white people do it. But when they do it, it's what? It's survival.
It's survival, right.
They have to do.
Yeah. A good example.
But when we do it, it's looting.
Right. It's like, remember when the Katrina thing happened or that one thing was happening? And, okay, a natural disaster's happening and these fools are going into stores instead of getting... It's one thing to say I need some toilet paper and my baby ain't got no diapers,
right.
Whatever. No, they're going in there stealing electronics.
Where you gonna plug it up at?
But that's why I say insanity for us. It's there.
We crazy.
Yes, it's there.
And you also say Artemis Trump is trying to avoid being impeached.
Well, impeachment doesn't stop because you go to war. I think we can chew bubblegum and walk at the same time.
Yeah, because that's what something I saw was,
right.
You can't have an impeachment or election during war.
That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. And again, if the Democrats really wanted to impeach him, which they've done, and throw the book at him.
And remove him.
Right. Well, they can't remove the Senate.
Right, because the Senate has to do it.
But they could have thrown more articles at him. Why that really the emoluments? You got him on that.
Well, I mean, and Nancy Pelosi and them really was, dragging their feet on doing
Right,
it.
they
in the
didn't want to
first
do
place.
it because
Right.
they get their money from the same people.
Exactly.
As long as this guy looks stupid and they keep us on each other's side and fighting. Because notice, whenever a third party rises, they're talking about Bernie Sanders. Look at how both sides fight Bernie Sanders and the socialist cause.
Right.
They don't want that guy to win at all.
Right. And then you think about somebody like Joe Biden is like, well, I'll entertain a Republican vice president.
I'm done. I'm done with that.
Cedric, you said I started going Facebook Live broadcasting about these ongoing experiences December 24th,
Okay.
2018 during the visitation of the last Over My House Close Encounters. September 19th, 2019. I made sure I was sitting in my drive or on my driving, I think you mean driveway on Facebook Live. I told everyone on Facebook I was feeling they would show up. I was right. So you say you got visited by some extraterrestrial beings? Is that what you're saying?
I agree with you. There are extraterrestrials, okay? However, when they saw what this white man does down here, they said, cordon this planet off. Leave that white man alone. They don't even visit here no more. That's what I believe. This is like a forbidden planet. Leave them white people, leave them alone.
Okay, they destroyed every civilization. They ain't gonna destroy ours.
Yes. Stay off of the planet.
Seriously, I don't know a whole lot about extraterrestrials besides ET. And I've heard a lot about the mothership and all of that. So I'm just saying. And sometimes I'll be like, if it's truly up there, now I have a reason to think it's not. Sometimes I'm like, can you just beam me up?
Beam me up, right?
So anyway, but interesting, Cedric, very interesting. And Jonelle says this nation truly practices hypocrisy. You don't murder and not expect results, especially war. Right? Well, America does, And Cedric says Rex 84, King Alfred Plan.
Real quick, breaking news. Beauty queen. I'd marry her to this very day. Prayers up. Pam Grier having only a few days to live after her battle with stage 4 cancer. Now, I don't know how true that is.
Let me see the source.
YouTube.com. I don't know how true that is because Pam Grier did recently tweet the other day on her ranch. So we gotta, when anything that comes to Pam Grier, we take that serious. So, go ahead and look that up and see what's up.
This can't be true. Okay, hold on. We're going to find out.
D is a big Pam Grier fan, so that's what they're saying. But we'll see. Prayers.
I think people lying.
Okay, good. Because
I
saw her tweet the other day on her ranch.
I hope it's not true. Okay. Anyway, we need Pam to stay around. Okay, and so Arsenio says it's actually true about the riots. We won't be smart about what we're robbing. It's sad because it's like even in dire straits, we're still trying to be entertained.
Yes.
It's like, come on. Like, leave the TV alone for just a minute,
1 second.
And Jonelle says, right, the masses is not ready. Very few are stocking up for the direction this nation is cycling. And that rotation of hypocrisy of this government is not going to stop till it's consumed by its cycling. Absolutely. Look up the Communist Manifesto. It talks about that. And Arson says, just by looking at Donovan's face, I knew he saw the chance to tell a joke. Talking about the aliens coming in.
Now think about it. In the 50s and 60s, they were coming here on a regular. Then they saw this.
Right, everybody was seeing them. Crop circles was popping up everywhere.
And they said, you know what? That white man, the way he's treating them black folks.
Cray. Yeah. Okay.
Forbidden
They have us
planet.
picking no cotton.
Forbidden planet.
And yes, Kay, I hope it's not true about Pam Grier. We love Pam Grier. We love her. Right? So anyway, I don't see any more comments. Did we miss the podcast?
I took care of it.
Okay, you took care of it.
Yes.
So anyway, I don't see any more comments. We're going to be back here on Sunday.
Yes.
Please give us topics. What do you guys want to talk about? I wanted to talk about health and fitness and all of that other stuff, you know, in regards to us, because at the end of the day, you know, me and my daughter joke about this all the time as we're exercising, then we go get some stuff that we ain't supposed to have. It's this crazy vicious cycle. But let's say we do have some sort of a Armageddon, if you will, a race war and all this other stuff. Half of us can't even walk around the block.
Right.
Let alone
You're
running and
absolutely
dodging in bushes in the forest and stuff.
Yes.
Talking about Kunta, they coming. I mean, we won't survive. You know, our diets are terrible. We don't exercise. I mean, we're a mess. We are a mess. And so it's one thing to say, well, you know, they better not come for me because I'm going to do A, B, you know, you're going to do all this other stuff. Hell, we going to need to put on our good jogging shoes. I mean, because think about it, and I'm not saying all white people, but I'm just saying, just to draw a picture, they are what, 60% of the population,
yes.
roughly. We're about 14. What we gonna do?
Right. When it's all said and done.
Right. So just, I may talk about that unless you guys have something else. Please hit my inbox, Donovan's inbox. And then Sydney says, no news on Twitter about Pam, so they lying. So somebody just clickbait. We need to kick their ass for getting our blood pressure up.
D is a big Pam Grier fan.
I love me some Pam Grier, okay? And Arson says, thank you again for everything, guys. No, it's our pleasure. And
yes,
Cedric,
thank you guys. Like I said, we learn as much from you guys
all the time. And, let's see. And I'm going to get these comments before we leave. And Cedric says, we have major earth changes going on right now. After my first contactee overhead 2 days, two close encounters in October 14. You documented stuff at 15, 2017, and 21-year-old Aborigine, Aborigine sister reached out on Facebook after both of our experiences because I was the only person she could talk to and understand her. This might sound crazy to you all, but not us contactees or experiencers. She had a face-to-face contact with 3 tall, dark-skinned extraterrestrials that looked just like us. The message to her was she had a lot to learn before their return. Okay, they returned in mass August 2018. We know this now. Listen, I'm not making a joke like you're crazy or lying. I mean, I don't have any knowledge of any extraterrestrials at all. So, and this is the crazy part too. In closing, a lot of times we think humans are very selfish and ignorant. Just overall, we think we're the only people here, or in the universe. Right. We think we are the end all, be all, right? So I would venture to say this. I would concede this point. We are definitely not alone.
We're not alone.
I would say that. I've never seen an alien. I don't think. I might have. I don't know. But we're definitely not alone. I'll say that. I mean, just like we go, to outer space, what's to say they don't come here?
Right, exactly. Here's something that I want you guys to do. This is from the Business Insider, which is a reputable thing that I use to talk about, the numbers and stuff. It says artificial intelligence, AI, and we talked about this months ago, is slated to disrupt 4.5 million jobs for African Americans who have a 10% greater likelihood of automation-based job loss than other workers. So we're going to be fighting automation. I mean, the jobs.
And that's about 10% of our population right there.
Right there.
Right. So
then we got to go get it, people.
Right. And Cedric says they said they would return for us. He said, I ask only you. Okay. And then he also said no, all of us. Oh, so you're saying only they're returning for him? He says no, all of us. What they gonna do with us?
I don't want no Prometheus type stuff.
Right, what they gonna do? Like all serious.
To serve man.
What are we already doing it?
No, to serve man. Remember the Twilight Zone episode?
Oh, yeah.
Where it was a cookbook?
Yeah. Oh no.
Yes.
What are they gonna do? Right? And then let's see. Okay, and Jonelle says, let me see more. As the Honorable Minister Farrakhan says, stay out of the draft if you don't want to catch a cold. We'd be wise to consider the time and watch the documentary Unacknowledged on what they call UFOs. Stay aware. Peace. All right, you guys. So we are out of here. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Friday. We will be back on Sunday. Please, YouTube. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you before, but if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. We enjoy having you here and enjoy your commentary as well. For those of you guys on Facebook, and Artemis says, can we talk about investment Sunday? Yes.
Yes, we can do that.
We're going to talk about investment. I'll even do you one better. Maybe I'll get, somebody to come on here and talk about investments. Also, Donovan and I are venturing off on some political things, if you will. We are going to interview a very, Dr. Williams, who's
she's running for the 41st district.
District, and she reached out to Donovan, and so we're going to interview her. So we'll put that up for you guys to see. Very interesting. We're going to pick her brain a little bit. We've already talked to her. Very sharp. A lady. So anyway, you guys, yes, we will talk about investments, all things money. How about that? Money and health. How about we do that? Okay, so
and real quick, sure. I found another marijuana stock, $2 a stock.
Why you ain't send me the information? Because I just invested in the other one.
Yeah, I was going to tell you that.
Yeah, okay, we'll do.
$2 a stock. Now, right now, the marijuana thing, we're taking a hit. But as these things become legal, it hasn't hit California yet. That thing, when it hits the federal level.
That's why I keep buying them.
Yeah, just keep buying them, especially when they're low. Yeah. Right now, I found one for $2. So just keep in.
Okay.
You can't afford $2, but you can afford a dime bag.
Or a chicken sandwich.
Right. I mean, come on.
Right. It's a stock.
Starbucks. Get a stock.
Right. So anyway, guys, yes, money and health. Health and wealth. That is the subject for Sunday. We will see you guys on Sunday. Please be well. Peace.